start down at the end. James, if you want to start. Jackson.
Yeah, Coach, what's this last weekend been like for you all, having that major comeback in the NCAA tournament and then having the cancellation in the championship game? What's it been like for you?
Exciting yet frustrating at the same time. You can't do much with the weather. The right decision was made, so we came to terms with that. It was one of the two of us was going to be one and probably number two, so it wasn't like we were losing anything from it. We declared co-champions, which we accepted a trophy gladly, and so it's been that the finish was really exciting, really fun, and it took us to another place, and that's something you just want to bottle up and hope that it maintains. But they're done with finals. I think they're a little more fresh and excited about the weekend.
Nice.
Patty, just what's it been like seeing Sydney Barker kind of continue to grow throughout this season and the way that she's been swinging the bat lately?
She works hard. She's a gamer. She's that tough exterior type of player. She's really been improving. And the one thing I talk to the team a lot about is practice and the importance of practice, specifically if you've not set your feet into a position and you are that starter. And she has listened, and she has really taken over at practice and really swung really well and can play a little bit of first and plays the outfield very well. So she has found herself in that starting position and, changed our world with her home runs against Arkansas and really focused and determined to win a spot.
Patty, a couple weeks ago, Sam Landry sat in here and talked to us about sort of her renewed love of softball and how maybe that wasn't there as much when she got here, and it's really blossomed since then. How have you seen that sort of develop? Did you get a sense, during that process of bringing her here, that maybe that was something that needed to be reignited from her, and just how that's sort of grown since she's been in Norman?
Yeah, I didn't feel that I need this new renewed love. We just watched her on video and saw her numbers, like, we got to find this girl right now. When she came here, she got to really spend a lot of time with Coach Rocha, and she learned a lot. She learned a lot of new, I think it's the love for pitching, but also the process of it that she fell in love with. Her and I have a really good relationship. It's fun, it's funny, like we joke around quite a bit. So I really look forward to seeing her because she really makes me laugh, and I don't know, we have a really cool relationship, but it's, she has a different love for pitching, and you can feel that because of success, but probably more than anything, just confidence that she's feeling.
And how does that sort of go across to the rest of the pitching staff, and especially the younger pitchers that you've got in this group, to try to maybe help them as they develop as players and pitchers?
Yeah, they watch very closely and watch the way Sam, when she's feeling good, but she's also had some tough times as well. I think the pitchers, you could watch somebody and know what it looks like, but it really comes down to what you're feeling inside, and when someone really has it, you can see it without even watching them pitch or their outcomes. And the person I feel has really kind of got the it factor lately is Audrey Lowry. And that is because she's just grounded, calm, cool. I know KD, you're going to see a KD that's going to be there. I believe that. She's had good bullpens as well and success on the mound at practice. But I think they can learn from Sam, but it's an individual decision of, this is how I need to get myself to feel.
Appreciate it.
Jesse.
Patty, in that Arkansas game, you had a lot of young players making big plays. Gabby, Sydney, Audrey in the circle. Just what did that show you about those young players in a game like that, and how important is it to kind of have those young players play like that going into the postseason?
I'll take the second part first. Very important to see that, but I'm not going, oh my gosh, I forget I forget that they're freshmen. I forget that they've not had this big moment. Gabby Garcia is playing like she's a junior. I mean, nothing is phasing her. And Audrey, nothing was phasing her. Barker is saying, if she could, she wouldn't say it out loud, but it's like, give me a chance. Let me show you. And she did. And she got another, she was about ready to get another start because of it. So I forget I don't think about that when we're in it. Probably more when it's over. Like, wow, that really happened. Way to go, Audrey. Or wow, way to go. Whoever it is. I never classify them by class. Maybe I need to start doing it. I don't know.
Well, you mentioned Sid, just in addition to her growth at the plate, how much is her versatility defensively? You touched that a little bit, but just how much is that making her an asset in terms of what she can do
Quite
for the
a
team?
bit. Yeah, quite a bit. She's just an athlete. And every time we're at practice, if you're sitting in our stands, you would pick her out and go, she wants it. That girl's the one that wants it. She is really fighting hard. And I know, she's been doing it consistently. And I tell them, hey, practice is so important. If you're trying to find your way in, just go to practice and have just good at bats, have a hard-working mentality. And she's always that athlete.
Thank you, guys.
You know, Patty, this regional is not, it's not that celebrated, but you get 2 league champions, and we know California's won a national championship where seven batters hit 300. So what do you think about this regional in Boston U as your starting opponent?
Yeah, I don't care what anyone in the world says. I know, and the team certainly knows from us, that we're facing champions. You don't get in this by luck. You get in because you did something really well. So we have faced a couple of these teams before. We have watched and faced Omaha not too long ago. Very well coached, good pitchers in this regional. Cal's got that feisty, they still have a Pac-12 mentality, feisty, West Coast kind of toughness about them. So we've got our hands full. I'm not listening to one thing because nobody knows. I do, and I'm not listening to what naysayers might say, or wow, you've got the easiest. And when people say that to you, you just have to plug your ears.
Patty, kind of twofold on the regional. First off, how much did you guys prep for Ricard last year, knowing that in the regional for Boston, but wasn't a matchup that was guaranteed for you guys last year?
Jeez, I'm trying to remember. I really could tell you that you could have 12 pitchers on your roster, and we're going to look at every single one of them. So I know that we did. I just don't really remember how much we did on her. But she's definitely helping carry them.
And at the same time, like this year, Noah, it's not just a bunch of pitchers. Cal has a bunch that have pitched a ton too. How challenging is that to have around, but that's not a guaranteed game, so you get to focus on Boston, but also have that like prep in your back pocket in case it pops up on one of these days?
Yeah, I think that's one thing that makes us a little bit different is our prep and looking at video and breaking it down, and sometimes at practice having a pitcher simulate who we might see, or put the machine on and make sure that the pitches are showing themselves up in an at-bat. So it's not easy, but it's necessary, because if you walk in and you think, well, we're not going to see her, and she shows up, then you just wasted 3 innings trying to figure out what she's doing. So I really credit JT and Jen Rocha for doing the same thing on the pitching side.
In terms of the youth of this team, you think back to February and where they were then to where they are now. You typically don't get to reflect this way until June usually, but where are you most proud of where they've grown from that point to now?
I think just the hungriness that they have. I don't think any of them have felt like they've arrived yet. Their work ethic is quite different in a wonderful way of how you would want to see freshmen come in and just keep asking for more, coming in and hitting at night on their own, those types of things. And it shows. I mean, they just keep getting better and more comfortable, and that's through the process and putting more into it.
Yeah, Patty, if you put Sid Barker in, that means maybe Sid Sanders or Hannah Core has to sit out. The maturity of those ladies to be able to accept that decision and still be ready at a moment's notice.
It's hard to accept for sure, but they've got to be good teammates and understand. And likely both Sid Sanders and Hannah Core will find their way into a game. Hannah Core will be in every single game. Whether she starts or not shouldn't really matter, but the fact that she's going to be in a game, maybe on defensive purposes, or come in and run for somebody, or maybe come in, get in a bat, then finish out in the outfield. She'll be out there. Sid Sanders is pretty much a daily starter, and if Sydney Barker comes in, maybe to get her off her feet, that's probably more of why we're doing it, is giving her experience and getting Sydney Sanders off of her feet. But there's no uncomfortable stuff with that. She's been a good teammate.
Colton,
You mentioned Audrey's had that big factor and calmness about her. What do you think has been her biggest growth spot from when she first arrived on campus, battling through injury? It could have been easy to get frustrated, but how have you kind of seen her stay calm through that and improve?
Yeah, I think she just, what's really great about this team is they all want to help. As frustrated as they are, maybe that they're not getting the pitching time, but they still want to help. However I can help. And Audrey just took that upon herself with that mentality. And if you give me 2 innings, I'm good, but I'm going to show you that you need to give me more. And this settling of her heart rate and her breathing has really allowed her to throw in a way that we knew she was capable of. And I think that's it. What I'm most proud of is a lot of these athletes have learned how to settle themselves and get really locked into what they're doing. I think Gabby Garcia is a great example of someone who came in like talking a mile a minute and just constantly moving like that, which isn't very fluid, but it's just the way she felt inside. And we really worked hard to get them to learn how to calm themselves every day. They do some breathing exercises. There's a lot of things we try to do to get them to know how to do that. When you can get an athlete to slow things down, you've got something special. And you can see it. You can see there's a special zone that elite athletes can get to. And if you can get your pitchers in that zone or a hitter in that zone, everything looks easy. And some of them are starting to really tap into this.
Yeah, Patty, do you know how the NCAA committee, what their protocols are in terms of bracketing? Like Boston gets sent here every how many times? And when they're not here, they're in Stillwater.
Yeah.
You'd think they'd let them see another part of the country, but do you have any idea why they do something?
I do not. That's where I learned what a cobra, whatever surrender cobra was. I didn't understand that. I didn't know what was so funny about it. But to me, it wasn't like, oh my gosh, we have to play the Sooners. It's more like, oh my gosh, we've got to go back there again.
Right.
And I don't blame them for that. And we've seen Cal Berkeley in a couple recently. So I don't know why. Obviously it doesn't mean maybe a lot to the committee that you're going back. It just fits the piece to the puzzle. And quite honestly, with across the board, I felt that there was more equality than I have felt. I didn't watch, but I watch it differently. My heart doesn't beat anymore. I'm just like, give us the names and let us move on. I just kind of sit in the back where before I was right up in the front. I did not look at the bracketing and go, you got to be kidding me. There's no way you're putting them together. So I didn't look at that at the time and go, oh, there they are again. I don't know. I would wish that's something they would pay attention to, because it is the experience for the student athlete to get to another place and see something new. this will be a new stadium that these guys haven't really felt completely yet, but no, I do agree. I wish they had more opportunities to experience something different.
Would you like to see them use an S curve where they like seed at least not just the top 16 but the top 32 and try to balance it out that way? Because they sometimes seem to go competitive reasons and sometimes regional, but there doesn't seem to be an absolute rule either way.
You're right about that as well, because there are some regionals where they're flying from everywhere, which is something usually you see 2 drive and 1 fly, or 1 stay home and everyone goes to them, but you don't see that in a lot of, I felt people traveling all over the place. So I thought, wow, it looks like we have more money to move some people around. But just back to Boston and even Cal, I think they could probably feel the same, not disappointment, but give us something different. And I don't think the committee cares much about that.
Were you thinking OSU might get sent here as a 2 seed?
I thought they're a little high up there to come to us. And I honestly thought, I was a little surprised that they're going to Arkansas. I thought it might be somebody in the 7, 8, 9, something like that. So I was a little surprised by that.
All right. Thanks, guys.